Understanding the impact of abusive fathers is crucial in addressing the broader topic of empowering voices and creating support networks for victims. Abusive fathers can significantly affect their children's mental, emotional, and physical well-being, shaping their development and influencing future relationships. This form of abuse can manifest through physical violence, emotional manipulation, neglect, or verbal aggression, leading to long-lasting trauma and psychological issues. Recognizing the profound consequences of such abuse is essential in developing effective resources and support systems for victims. The significance of this topic lies in its direct relation to the need for empowerment and support. Victims often face challenges such as low self-esteem, trust issues, and difficulties in forming healthy relationships. By understanding the impact of such abuse, communities and professionals can tailor interventions and resources to address these specific needs. Acknowledging this issue is the first step toward creating an environment where victims feel heard, validated, and supported in their journey toward healing. Real-world examples illustrate this concept vividly. Organizations like the National Domestic Violence Hotline provide resources that cater to individuals impacted by family violence, offering counseling and guidance to navigate the complexities of abusive relationships. Similarly, community programs focused on personal development and mental health support can help victims rebuild their lives by providing a safe space for expression and growth. These examples highlight the practical applications of understanding the abuse's impact and underscore the necessity for targeted support systems. Several experts in psychology and social work advocate for a comprehensive approach to tackling this issue. They emphasize the importance of early intervention, public education, and accessible mental health services. Such opinions reinforce the idea that prevention and proactive support are vital in mitigating the effects of abuse and preventing intergenerational cycles of violence. However, challenges and controversies surround this topic. One significant challenge is the stigma and silence that often accompany family abuse, making it difficult for victims to seek help. Additionally, cultural and societal norms in some communities may downplay or excuse abusive behavior, complicating efforts to address it effectively. Alternative viewpoints might argue for prioritizing family unity over separation, which can be contentious in cases of severe abuse. Understanding the impact of abusive fathers is foundational to other aspects of empowering victims. By addressing the root causes and consequences of this issue, support networks can be more effectively designed, leading to holistic healing and empowerment. This knowledge fosters an empathetic approach that is critical in developing comprehensive strategies to support and uplift those affected. Recognizing signs of abuse. Identifying victims and their needs is a critical component in supporting those affected by abusive fathers. It involves understanding the physical, emotional, and psychological indicators that someone may be experiencing abuse. Recognizing these signs allows for the timely intervention and support necessary to empower victims and facilitate their healing journey. This point is vital to the broader topic of empowerment and support networks, because it acts as the initial step toward achieving safety and healing for victims. Without accurate identification, victims may continue to suffer in silence, hidden in plain sight. The significance of this point becomes evident when considering its real-world applications. For example, schools can play an essential role by training teachers to identify signs of abuse in students, such as unexplained injuries, depression, or withdrawal from friends and activities. In another scenario, healthcare professionals in clinics and hospitals can be trained to recognize symptoms of abuse and ask the right questions in a safe environment, providing crucial resources or contacts for further help. These proactive measures can significantly impact victims' lives by breaking the cycle of abuse and offering necessary support. Support for this idea comes from numerous psychological and social studies which highlight the benefits of early identification and intervention. These studies emphasize that when victims are identified and given access to resources, they are more likely to seek help and begin the recovery process. However, this concept is not without its challenges. One potential controversy arises from the difficulty in distinguishing between strict parenting and abusive behavior, which can vary greatly depending on cultural and societal norms. Additionally, victims themselves might be reluctant to come forward due to fear, shame, or loyalty to the abuser, complicating the identification process. Furthermore, some argue that focusing too heavily on the identification of abuse might lead to overreach or misidentification, which could create distrust in the support systems. However, these challenges underscore the importance of sensitive, well-informed intervention strategies. This point connects to other aspects of the topic by emphasizing the need for comprehensive support networks. Once victims are identified, their specific needs can guide the kinds of resources and support systems provided, such as counseling, legal aid, or safe havens. Ultimately, recognizing signs of abuse is not just about identifying victims. It's about initiating a holistic response that empowers them to reclaim their voices and build a safer, more supportive future. Legal protections and advocacy for victims are crucial components in empowering individuals who have experienced abuse, especially from family members like fathers. This concept involves a framework of laws, legal services, and advocacy efforts designed to ensure that victims are protected from further harm and have the necessary support to navigate the often complex legal processes. Legal protections may include restraining orders, custody arrangements, and rights to safe living environments, while advocacy encompasses providing victims with the knowledge, resources, and legal representation needed to assert their rights effectively. The significance of legal protections and advocacy in the context of empowering victims of abusive fathers cannot be overstated. These measures are fundamental in breaking the cycle of abuse by offering victims a legitimate pathway to safety and justice. They serve as a foundation for victims to reclaim their autonomy and provide a deterrent to abusers. Legal support and advocacy also amplify the voices of victims, ensuring they are heard and regarded seriously in both social and judicial settings. Real-world applications of legal protections and advocacy can be seen in the work of organizations like the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, NCOV, in the United States, which offers resources and support to victims seeking legal recourse. Another example involves the implementation of specialized domestic violence courts, which focus on the unique needs of abuse victims and streamline the legal process to prioritize their safety and well-being. Experts and advocates argue that ensuring robust legal protections and access to advocacy is essential not just for individual victims, but for societal change. They emphasize that when the legal system effectively supports victims, it sends a powerful message against the normalization of abuse. However, challenges exist, such as the potential for legal systems to re-victimize or inadequately support victims due to systemic biases or lack of resources. In some cases, victims may be reluctant to seek legal help due to fear of stigma, retaliation, or skepticism about the effectiveness of legal interventions. Alternative viewpoints suggest that while legal measures are vital, they should be complemented by broader social support systems, including counseling and community-based resources. Legal protections and advocacy efforts influence other aspects of empowering victims by setting a precedent for supportive infrastructure that integrates with emotional, psychological, and community resources. Together, these elements form a comprehensive support network that empowers victims to not only seek justice but also to heal and rebuild their lives. Therapeutic interventions and counseling resources are crucial components in supporting victims of abusive fathers, offering pathways to healing and empowerment. These services involve professional mental health support designed to help individuals process and recover from trauma, address emotional and psychological wounds, and build resilience. The significance of this point, within the larger context of empowering voices, lies in providing victims with the necessary tools and support to reclaim their agency and rebuild their lives, free from the shadow of abuse. One real-world example of therapeutic intervention is trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, TFCBT. This evidence-based approach helps victims understand and change their thought patterns to better cope with the distress resulting from abuse. By working through these patterns in a safe and guided environment, individuals can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, enhance their emotional well-being, and regain control over their lives. Another example is group therapy, which provides a sense of community and shared experience amongst participants. In these settings, victims can share their stories, gain mutual support, and learn from others who have experienced similar situations, promoting a sense of belonging and collective healing. Supporters of therapeutic interventions emphasize the importance of mental health care in breaking the cycle of abuse and its enduring psychological impacts. They argue that without addressing the underlying trauma and emotional scars, victims may struggle to move forward or may even perpetuate cycles of abuse in their own relationships. However, there are challenges and alternative viewpoints. Access to qualified professionals and affordable services remains a significant barrier for many, restricting the availability of these vital resources. Additionally, there may be cultural stigmas attached to seeking mental health support, which can dissuade individuals from pursuing necessary intervention. Despite these challenges, therapeutic interventions directly influence other aspects of empowering victims, such as legal and educational support. By fostering inner strength and resilience, victims are better prepared to engage with legal systems, seek justice, and advocate for changes in policy or societal attitudes toward domestic abuse. Counseling can also support educational and career advancement, helping individuals build confidence and skills to pursue opportunities they might have previously felt out of reach. Overall, therapeutic interventions and counseling resources serve as a foundational element in the broader network of support for victims of abusive fathers, guiding them toward healing and empowering their voices in the journey to a healthier, more autonomous future.